Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today I've got a plant care video for you for Chinese money tree, botanically known as Pachira aquatica. I love this plant for the tropical look it gives to your indoor garden. It's relatively easy to grow, providing you know what you're doing, and I'm going to tell you all about how to keep this plant healthy and happy in your indoor garden in this video. Money tree plants are native to Mexico, to northern South America. The trees grow in freshwater swamps and riverbanks in tropical rainforests. In their native habitat, they grow up to 60 feet tall, but they will only reach about 6 to 8 feet tall indoors. That's still a pretty good sized, pretty slender, slim tree, and it looks really nice in your indoor garden. Oftentimes too, the base of the plant will be braided, and that is the case with this one as well. In their native regions, money tree plants produce fruits that are oval green pods that have 5 chambers inside. The seeds within the fruit inside these chambers swell until the pods burst. They can be eaten fresh or roasted, the seeds, and they taste a bit like chestnuts. They can also be ground into flour. The plant won't produce these seeds indoors, but I'm just mentioning it because one of the other common names for this plant is Malabar chestnut or Saba nut as well. Chinese money tree gets its common name from feng shui. It is believed that if you grow a Chinese money tree, it will bring you good luck. The leaves of the money tree plant are said to capture happiness and good fortune. And it stores all of this in its braided trunk. Money tree plants are also commonly used for bonsai. Okay, so how to keep this beautiful plant happy and healthy in your indoor garden? Well, first of all, lighting. Pachira prefer bright but indirect sunlight, like next to a south or west facing window. But you don't want to get them too close to the windows, as their very delicate foliage will scorch from direct sunlight. So if you're going to have them next to or near a south or west facing window, if it's next to it, you're going to need sheer curtains or blinds or something to protect the plant from too much bright light, or grow them several feet away from such windows. They do very well in eastern facing windows, which get a very mild morning sunlight, and they also do fairly well in front of northern windows, but in front of northern windows they will also often need some extra full spectrum lighting to give them enough light. And they also will do very well if you just have full spectrum lighting on them. So that is what you want to do for lighting. And I would call it a medium light that they require. Watering. As its botanical name suggests, aquatica. Pachira aquatica loves moisture, but you still should never let it have it sitting in standing water or have the soil really soggy. But you do want to keep the plant relatively moist on a regular basis. So water when the moisture meter reads around between 4 and 5. When you do water the plant, soak it really well, and then wait again till it gets to on the moisture meter to around 4 or bordering on 5, and then water again. You always want to make sure too that whatever pot you have the plant in, that it does have drainage holes, because this plant, even though it does like things on the moist side, it can succumb to root rot, as all plants can. If you don't have a moisture meter, you will want to water when the first 1 to 2 inches of soil has dried out. The 2 inches is for bigger pots, the 1 inch is for smaller pots. You also want to water less frequently in the winter time when the plant slows down growth. Okay, so fertilizing for this beauty. You want to fertilize monthly, spring through early fall, with a well-balanced organic fertilizer. So that is very important, the organic, because organic won't harm roots as chemical fertilizers will. Chemical fertilizers can burn roots, and that can actually, as mentioned, harm the roots and even cause root dieback, and that can then eventually lead to root rot. So use an organic fertilizer on these beauties, and as mentioned, spring through early fall, monthly fertilizing. Humidity. Money tree requires moderate humidity of 45% plus. So if your home is on the dry side, so drier than the 45%, you want to increase humidity. Some ways you can do that is place the pot on a saucer filled with pebbles, so basically humidity tray, and also grouping the plants. Plants humidify each other. That will raise the humidity. Misting on a regular basis will raise the humidity. And if you have very low humidity in your home, you can also use a humidifier. I do have videos on how to increase humidity. I have a playlist. I will put a link below for that, as well as any other videos I mentioned in this video. Okay, so temperature for this lovely plant. So the Pachira does best with 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the ideal range for Chinese money tree. You want to keep them away from drafty areas, especially in the winter months. They don't like those cold drafts. Also keep them clear of the direct line of fire from forced heating and air conditioning, because that will also dry out their leaves. They have fairly thin leaves. As mentioned, the leaves are susceptible to sunburn if there's too much light, scorching, and they also are susceptible to drying out if they're getting too much dry air on them. Pruning. The Pachira plant rarely needs to be pruned, but you do want to obviously take off any dead or dying material on the plant, any dead or dying leaves. Some leaf drop from leaves that die back is normal, but if you're getting a lot, then you've got a problem like too little or too much watering. But as mentioned, some leaf drop is fine, so you want to prune out the dead and dying. Pinching back the growth tips at the end of the branches will also keep the plant from growing upwards, and it will make it more bushy. So if that's something that you want to do, make it more bushy, you can do some pinching back as well. Repotting the money tree. So if you keep the money tree in a small pot, that's going to keep the plant a little bit smaller, but it's still going to keep growing. So if you want it to be taller and larger, then you're going to want to repot more frequently. So you can repot as soon as the roots have filled the container. Roots are coming out the bottom, and the plant is needing watering a lot more frequently. Those are signs that you would want to repot. When you do so, just go up one pot size and use a quick draining potting soil that also holds moisture. In terms of pests and diseases, mealybugs will sometimes affect this plant, so keep an eye out for them. Treat with 70 to 91% isopropyl alcohol. If you do see mealybugs, spray it really good, let it sit for a while, rinse the leaves, and keep on it for several weeks. Keep repeating the treatment for several weeks, and you can usually get the mealybugs under control. Now, I have mentioned leaf problems. Dropping leaves is another problem that the money tree can get. And one of the reasons that it may drop leaves on you, it's similar to the Ficus benjamina, is when it is not happy about being moved around. It will start to drop leaves. So try not to move the plant around too much, or else you may get a lot of leaf loss. When you found the right spot for it, try to just keep it there, water it in place, etc. Of course, you're going to have to move it sometimes, but for the most part, try not to move it too much. Rotate it just a little bit at a time on a regular basis so that you're going to get even sunlight distribution on all sides of the plant, and that will keep it more symmetrical and bushy. It's not a real bushy plant, but leaf growth on all sides of the plant. And another reason it will drop leaves is if the soil is too dry. So that's another consideration for the dropping leaves. So there you go for keeping this beauty Chinese money tree, Pachira aquatica, healthy and happy in your indoor garden. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.